In Victorian England, saying yes to marriage meant you could never again eat fish with a knife or sit with your back to a window. And if you broke any of these invisible rules, society would literally erase you. One misstep, one wrong glove color or improper greeting, and doors slammed shut forever. People stopped seeing you. Invitations disappeared. And in a world where social connections were survival, this was essentially a death sentence. And I'm curious, what time is it where you are? Comment your location and time. Sometimes I see someone from California listening at 3 p.m. And I'm like, are you napping? Alright, let's head back to Victorian England. But first, get comfortable. I mean it. Adjust your pillows. Grab that blanket because where we're going, you're going to want to be cozy. The darkness gradually recedes as weak morning light filters through heavy damask curtains. Your eyes flutter open to an elaborately papered ceiling. The subtle floral pattern barely visible in.
Straighten your tie. Ernest, he says without pausing. And young James, polish those shoes again. I want to see my face in them. Is that clear? Mr. Phillips runs the household's male staff with military precision. His word is law below stairs, and any lapse in standards is swiftly corrected. Jane reaches Elellena's room just as the clock strikes 7. She enters quietly, setting the porcelain basin on the washstand. "Good morning, miss," she says softly as Elellanena stirs awake. Jane opens the curtains, flooding the room with morning light. Behind her composed exterior, Jane's mind is a whirlwind of mental checklists and schedules. She has a mere 30 minutes to help Elellanena dress and style her hair before breakfast. Every step, every movement is efficient, a carefully choreographed routine. Once Elellanena is dressed, she's left alone to make her way downstairs. Jane quickly tidies the room, then descends to the kitchen for a quick cup of tea before tackling the rest of her morning chores. As she passes Mary's small figure scrubbing the tiles outside the scullery, she thinks again of how easily things could change. One mistake could send her back to her father's small farm, or worse, seeking work in one of the many grim factories of London's industrial sprawl. Two worlds exist simultaneously in this house: the polished world of the wealthy above stairs and the harsh reality below. Each occupant plays their part as essential cogs in a finely tuned machine. As Elellanena sits at Lady Montgomery's tea, considering the stakes of the social interactions around her, Jane is busy preparing for the evening ahead, knowing that her own future is bound up in this intricate web of Victorian life's complex social hierarchy. Today is a dance of decisions and chance. While Elellanena tests the waters of potential alliances, Jane matches the rhythm with her own maneuvering, ensuring everything flows smoothly from the shadows. Both are actresses in the same play, yet each possesses an entirely different script. One misstep could change everything, but for now, the performance continues. The male servants form another branch of the household hierarchy entirely. At the top stands Mr. Phillips, ramrod straight, impeccably dressed, the absolute authority over the male staff. Under him are the footmen, chosen specifically for their height and good looks. These men are essentially the Rolex watches of the Victorian era, status symbols that wealthy families display prominently. Matching footmen over 6 feet tall, peak aristocratic flex. Some families even pay taller footmen higher wages. Footmen, in powdered wigs and colorful livery, announce guests, serve meals, and impress more than they work, yet earn more than women who notice the unfairness. Jane passes Mr. Phillips, the butler, whose curt nod reminds her that though both are senior, his authority outranks all. "Mr. Phillips," she replies, showing proper respect. Servants follow rigid protocols, never using first names, even in their own hall. The housekeeper is called Mrs. Phillips, though unmarried, as a mark of status, while younger staff are addressed only by their surnames. When Jane enters Elellena's bedroom, she moves silently, placing the warm water basin on the washstand before drawing the curtains. The room is freezing despite the newly lit fire. She stands for a moment watching Elellanena sleep, aware of how different their lives are despite being similar in age. "Good morning, miss," Jane says, as she has for 3 years. By Elellena's waking, Jane's back aches from hauling coal, yet she helped her dress with calm skill. When asked blue or green, Jane knows it's more than color. Every choice holds social weight, requiring her careful navigation. "The blue, miss," Jane advises, noting Lady Montgomery once linked green with illness. Elellanena nods, trusting her judgment. In such moments, Jane finds quiet power. Her grasp of social nuance makes her indispensable. The aristocrats hold status, but servants wield knowledge and access. I found this fascinating letter from a lady's maid in the 1870s who wrote, "I know more about my mistress than her own husband does. I dress her wounds, both physical and emotional. I know which corset hides which secret. In some ways, she belongs more to me than to him." Talk about complicated power dynamics. Dressing Elellanena is painstaking. Chemise, corset, petticoats, gown, while Jane's mind races ahead. Clean the room, empty the chamber pot, change linens, mend clothes, ready the evening dress, then prepare Lady Hartley's tea. Duty piles upon duty, her day mapped before it begins. Jane tightens Elellena's corset with care, unlike maids who boast of the smallest waists. She's seen fainting and lasting harm. Yet when Elellanena gasps, "Tighter," Lady Montgomery will notice. Jane obeys. Guilt pricks her. She protects her mistress even as she aids her restriction. Once Elellanena is dressed and her hair arranged, Jane will have a brief moment to eat her own breakfast before beginning the day's cleaning. Servants' meals are taken in the servants' hall, presided over by Mr. and Mrs. Phillips. In the basement servants' hall, rank dictates seating. Mr. Phillips presides at the head, Mrs. Phillips at the foot. Closest sit the cook, valet, and Jane, whose place near Mrs. Phillips marks her rank as lady's maid, while scullery maids and hall boys cluster humbly in the middle. Breakfast is plain: porridge, bread, strong tea, fuel for long hours unlike the feast upstairs. Between bites, Mrs. Phillips instructs Jane to ready Elellena's evening dress for tomorrow and help with Lady Hartley's tea today. No one protests. Servants endure without the luxury of complaint. Victorian servants toiled 16 to 18 hours daily, yet had to stay cheerful. One manual warned, "A servant with a sour countenance renders disservice to the household atmosphere." In other words, smile through exhaustion or risk dismissal. Appearance mattered as much as labor. The conversation at breakfast is muted and practical, centered entirely on the day's work. Personal matters have no place here. Even friendships between servants must be conducted with restraint. Romance between servants could result in immediate dismissal. A Victorian manual banned followers, meaning servants couldn't have visitors or romances. Their entire social world was confined to the household, the same few faces for years. Claustrophobic rules like this show how even personal lives were tightly controlled below stairs. After breakfast, Jane heads upstairs to tend Elellena's room. Make the bed, stoke the fire, empty the chamber pot, check clothes for mending. As she strips the linens, Mrs. Hartley's voice drifts from the hall, briskly instructing the housekeeper on the day's arrangements. Lady Montgomery's tea and Mr. Harwick's son. Annie's gossip rings true. Jane smiles, knowing by nightfall servants across households will share every detail the family assumes secret. Invisibility has power. Unnoticed, servants see and hear everything others believe hidden. By mid-morning, Jane is in the steamy laundry, mending Elellena's petticoat as housemaids scrub linens, their hands raw from lye. Mrs. Phillips appears, stern. Where's Mary? She was to polish silver an hour ago. The maids trade uneasy looks. Jane keeps her eyes fixed on her stitching. Mrs. Phillips starts to scold, but pauses as Mary appears, pale and weary. I was helping cook, she whispers, though the excuse rings false. The silver won't polish itself. Get to it, Mrs. Phillips snaps. Mary nods and hurries off, swaying on her feet, her exhaustion plain to Jane's eyes. That child's not well, Jane murmurs after Mrs. Phillips leaves. A housemaid shrugs. She'll be sent back to the workhouse if she can't keep up. Such is the brutal truth. No sick days, no rest. Servants work through fever, pain, and exhaustion, or risk losing everything. First stop is the baker's shop. The bell tinkles as she enters, and Mrs. Parker, the baker's wife, greets her with appropriate deference. Good morning, Mrs. Wilson. The usual order today. Charlotte hesitates. Her husband Thomas's law practice has been slow this month, and economies are needed. But cutting back on quality bread would signal financial trouble to the neighborhood. Yes, the usual, she decides, and perhaps one of those small seed cakes as well. The seed cake is an unnecessary expense, but it allows Charlotte to project prosperity while actually buying less than last week. This constant calculation, what to skimp on, what to splurge on for appearance's sake, is the exhausting mental arithmetic of middle-class Victorian life. The average middle-class Victorian woman spent about 25% of her household budget on maintaining appearances. A quarter of everything they had went not to comfort or security, but to looking the part. As Charlotte pays, she's careful to draw her coins from a modest purse, not the cheaper coin pouch she actually prefers. The performance of gentility never stops. Next is the butcher's shop, where the Royal navigation begins. As Charlotte approaches, she notices two women already at the counter. One clearly a cook from a wealthy household, the other a working-class housewife buying cheap cuts. The timing creates a dilemma. If Charlotte enters now, the butcher will be forced to choose whose order to prioritize. Etiquette demands he serve the higher status household first. Whether that means the cook or Charlotte depends on whose employer outranks the other. Such subtle class negotiations play out constantly. Who steps aside, who serves first, who speaks first, all signaling hidden hierarchies. Every interaction is a subtle reinforcement of the invisible hierarchies that govern Victorian life. Charlotte pauses, pretending to adjust her glove until the working-class woman finishes her purchase. This allows her to avoid the awkward negotiation entirely. Such strategic delays are essential skills for middle-class Victorians navigating social waters. Inside, the butcher greets her with a respectful Mrs. Wilson while finishing the cook's substantial order, clearly for a household far wealthier than Charlotte's. Just a small roast today, Mr. Simmons, Charlotte says when her turn comes, and perhaps some stewing beef for tomorrow. The butcher notes Charlotte's smaller order, a hint of the Wilsons' strained finances. Quickly, she explains, we're dining at the Hendersons tonight, offering a polite cover. In this world, it's safer to appear busy with engagements than admit to being quietly broke. As Mr. Simmons wraps her meat in paper, Charlotte casually asks, I don't suppose you've heard anything about the Harwicks. I understand their son has returned from Oxford. The butcher's face lights up with the universal expression of someone with gossip to share. Indeed, ma'am. My boy delivers to their cook, and word is the young Mr. Harwick was at Lady Montgomery's tea yesterday, paying particular attention to the Hartley girl. Charlotte nods thoughtfully. How interesting. This exchange exemplifies another middle-class survival skill, information gathering. Without access to the aristocratic social circuit, middle-class Victorians relied on servants, shopkeepers, and church connections to stay informed about social movements above their station. Knowledge was power, especially for families like the Wilsons with marriageable daughters. With her purchases secured, Charlotte continues to Covent Garden Market, the bustling heart of London commerce, where all classes inevitably collide. The market is a sensory assault, vendors shouting their wares, the smell of fresh produce mingling with horse manure, pickpockets, and society ladies navigating the same crowded passages. Here, the carefully separated worlds of Victorian London temporarily converge. Charlotte moves purposefully, ignoring the fishmongers and lower-class food stalls. As a respectable middle-class woman, she buys certain items directly, but delegates the purchasing of coarse foods like fish to her maid. Heaven forbid someone of her station be seen haggling over mackerel. As she selects vegetables from farmer's stall, a commotion erupts nearby. A well-dressed gentleman is accusing a ragged boy of stealing his handkerchief. The boy, no more than 10, protests his innocence while the man grips his collar. The crowd parts slightly, creating the instinctive separation that occurs whenever cross-class conflict erupts. Charlotte looks away as etiquette demands. Public disputes are to be ignored by the genteel, especially those involving the lower classes. But as she turns, she accidentally makes eye contact with a finely dressed woman observing the scene. With a jolt, Charlotte recognizes Mrs. Hartley, Elellanena mother, accompanied by a maid carrying her purchases. This chance encounter presents both opportunity and danger. The Wilsons and Hartleys move in separate circles. Ordinarily, Mrs. Hartley wouldn't notice Charlotte, wife of a modestly successful solicitor. Yet a thin link exists. Years ago, Charlotte's husband managed minor legal affairs for Mrs. Hartley's brother, enough to permit a fragile connection. Is this sufficient for Charlotte to offer a greeting? If she acknowledges Mrs. Hartley and is snubbed, the humiliation would be significant. If she doesn't acknowledge her and Mrs. Hartley expects it, she appears presumptuous. To Charlotte's relief, Mrs. Hartley approaches. "Good morning, Mrs. Wilson," she says with a gracious nod. "I hope you and your family are well." Charlotte returns the greeting with a smile. "Good morning, Mrs. Hartley. We are all well, thank you. I hope the same for you and yours." This public acknowledgement is social currency more valuable than anything Charlotte could purchase in the market. Being recognized by someone of Mrs. Hartley's status is a significant social victory for Charlotte, and she knows it. With her purchases secured, Charlotte continues to navigate the bustling market, her mind racing with the possibilities this chance encounter might bring. The Victorian middle class were masters at this game. The Wilsons and Hartleys occupy entirely different social spheres. Under normal circumstances, Mrs. Hartley would have no reason to acknowledge Charlotte, whose husband is merely a moderately successful solicitor. But they share a tenuous connection. Charlotte's husband handled some minor legal matters for Mrs. Hartley's brother years ago. When Harriet departs, Charlotte returns to her accounts with a renewed sense of purpose. The social information gathered today, the connection to Mrs. Hartley, the confirmation of James Harwick's interest in Elellanena, the positive report on Robert Henderson's prospects, all represent potential advantages to be carefully maximized. This is the middle-class Victorian woman's true work, managing the family's social position with the same attention a business manager gives to profit margins. Every interaction, every purchase, every invitation is evaluated for its potential impact on status and connections. As afternoon fades toward evening, Charlotte prepares for the Hendersons' dinner party. Unlike Elellanena Hartley with her lady's maid, Charlotte must manage with Martha's limited assistance. Her dress is fashionable but not new. Her jewelry modest but good quality. Thomas emerges from his study looking tired but determined to present well. For middle-class men, these social engagements were not merely pleasurable diversions, but essential business networking. Many of Thomas's clients came through social connections. "Ready, my dear?" he asks, offering his arm. Charlotte nods, mentally reviewing what she knows about each guest likely to attend, what topics to introduce or avoid, how to subtly mention her encounter with Mrs. Hartley without appearing to boast. As they step into the hired hansom cab, not a private carriage like the Hartleys, but respectable transportation for a middle-class couple, Charlotte feels the familiar mixture of anxiety and determination that characterizes her social existence. The Wilsons' position is precarious, balanced between genteel respectability and financial uncertainty. One bad investment, one lost client, one social misstep could send them tumbling down the carefully constructed ladder of Victorian society. Yet within these constraints, Charlotte has mastered the art of maximizing limited advantages. Today's chance encounters might yield nothing, or they might create opportunities for Emily's future. The middle-class game is played with smaller stakes than the aristocratic one, but with no less skill or strategy. As the cab rattles toward the Hendersons' home, Charlotte straightens her back and composes her features. The performance of middle-class respectability continues, an exhausting but essential dance of appearances and calculated connections. The social battlefield back at Lady Montgomery's elegant Belgravia townhouse. The social battlefield is in full swing. The drawing room hums with carefully modulated female voices, each word a potential weapon or shield in the ongoing war of status and connection. Elellanena sits perched on a damask chair, posture perfect despite her screaming ribcage. The corset that's been compressing her organs since morning now feels like an iron maiden as she maintains the serene expression expected of a well-bred young lady. Lady Montgomery presides over the gathering like a general surveying troops. At 63, she has survived 4 decades in London society, outlasting rivals and accumulating the most valuable currency in this world, influence. Her tea table is both throne and command center. "Miss Hartley," she calls, beckoning Elellanena with a jeweled hand. "Come sit by me and tell me about your music. I understand you play the pianoforte quite adequately." The invitation is both honor and test. Being summoned to Lady Montgomery's immediate circle places Elellanena in the spotlight. Every other woman in the room will observe her performance, judging her worthiness for this elevated attention. I spent weeks researching Victorian women's private correspondence just to understand these social dynamics. The psychological warfare in these drawing rooms was more brutal than anything in modern corporate boardrooms. Lives were literally destroyed over teacups. "You're too kind, Lady Montgomery," Elellanena replies, moving gracefully to the indicated seat. "I practiced diligently, though I could never approach your daughter's renowned skill." This is the correct response. Modest about her own accomplishments while complimenting Lady Montgomery's family. Direct self-praise would be vulgar, while failing to acknowledge her hostess's daughter would seem ignorant or dismissive. The older woman nods slightly. "The first test passed. And what did you think of Signor Verdi's latest work?" "I found it excessively emotional, though fashionably so." This innocent-sounding question is actually a trap. Elellanena doesn't particularly care for Verdi, but she knows Lady Montgomery's nephew is a vocal admirer of the composer. Cultural opinions were never just personal preferences in Victorian society. They were political positions that aligned you with certain factions. Elellanena navigates this hazard with practiced skill. It possesses a certain passionate quality that speaks to modern sensibilities, though I confess I often find myself returning to Mozart for his clarity of expression. Perfect. She's acknowledged the fashionable position without fully committing to it, while indicating her own taste runs to the more conservative, which happens to align with Lady Montgomery's known preferences. Lady Montgomery's thin lips curve slightly. Precisely so. Youth is naturally drawn to romantic excesses, but maturity appreciates classical restraint. From across the room, Elellanena catches her mother's approving glance. Another skirmish successfully managed. This conversation might seem trivial, but imagine your entire future, who you'll marry, where you'll live, your financial security, your children's prospects, hanging on whether you express the right opinion about an opera. That was the reality for Victorian women of Elellenanena's class. The drawing room itself is a stage set for these performances. Every element is strategically arranged, seating that subtly indicates status hierarchies, tables positioned to create intimate conversation clusters for favored guests while isolating others, lighting designed to flatter certain faces while casting others in less becoming illumination. Even the positioning of the tea table is calculated. Lady Montgomery can observe every interaction while controlling access to refreshments. In Victorian society, quite literally determining who gets fed and who goes hungry. As Elellanena makes appropriate conversation with the women in Lady Montgomery's inner circle, her attention remains fixed on the drawing room entrance. James Harwick and the other gentlemen have yet to appear, still sequestered with Lord Montgomery in his study, likely discussing politics or business, topics considered unsuitable for ladies. Wait, let me tell you something wild about Victorian gender segregation. In wealthy homes, men and women would literally spend most of their day in separate spaces. After dinner, the men would stay at the table drinking port while women withdrew to the drawing room. When Harriet departs, Charlotte returns to her accounts with a renewed sense of purpose. The social information gathered today, the connection to Mrs. Hartley, the confirmation of James Harwick's interest in Elellanena, the positive report on Robert Henderson's prospects, all represent potential advantages to be carefully maximized. This is the middle-class Victorian woman's true work, managing the family's social position with the same attention a business manager gives to profit margins. Unlike Elellanena Hartley with her lady's maid, Charlotte must manage with Martha's limited assistance. Her dress is fashionable but not new. Her jewelry modest but good quality. Thomas emerges from his study looking tired but determined to present well. "Ready, my dear?" he asks, offering his arm. As they step into the hired hansom cab, not a private carriage like the Hartleys, but respectable transportation for a middle-class couple, Charlotte feels the familiar mixture of anxiety and determination that characterizes her social existence. The Wilsons' position is precarious, balanced between genteel respectability and financial uncertainty. One bad investment, one lost client, one social misstep could send them tumbling down the carefully constructed ladder of Victorian society. Today's chance encounters might yield nothing, or they might create opportunities for Emily's future. The middle-class game is played with smaller stakes than the aristocratic one, but with no less skill or strategy. As the cab rattles toward the Hendersons' home, Charlotte straightens her back and composes her features. Back at Lady Montgomery's elegant Belgravia townhouse, the social battlefield is in full swing. The drawing room hums with carefully modulated female voices, each word a potential weapon or shield in the ongoing war of status and connection. Elellanena sits perched on a damask chair, posture perfect despite her screaming ribcage. Being summoned to Lady Montgomery's immediate circle places Elellanena in the spotlight. Every other woman in the room will observe her performance, judging her worthiness for this elevated attention. "You're too kind, Lady Montgomery," Elellanena replies, moving gracefully to the indicated seat. Heart of Victorian social life. Here, the complicated dance of courtship and alliances continues in a more intimate setting, yet with no less scrutiny. Elellanena arrives promptly with her family, her nerves tightly wound beneath the elegant blue silk gown she has chosen carefully to flatter both her complexion and style. Her mother's approving nod cements Elellenena's confidence, though nerves simmer just beneath the surface. It is not just a dinner invitation, but another stage where alliances and marital prospects will be delicately navigated. James Harwick stands near the entrance, engaged in conversation with Mr. Wilkinson when he spots Elellanena. It's subtle, the way his expression shifts from politely engaged to briefly bright, but she catches it nonetheless. Through practiced grace, she acknowledges him with the barest incline of her head before her attention shifts back to the formalities of greetings and introductions. The drawing room of the Wilkinsons is a grand affair, resplendent in dark wood and gold accents, the perfect Victorian setting for the evening's play. Mrs. Wilkinson, a woman of considerable social influence, presides like a queen. Invitations to her dinners are coveted as much for their exclusivity as for the opportunity to be part of her favorite circle. Elellanena can feel the weight of that privilege as well as its expectations. Dinner is announced and the procession begins. James manages, through subtle maneuvering, to place himself beside Elellanena. It's a social coup facilitated by Mrs. Wilkinson and his mother, a fact not lost on Elellanena. Across the table, she feels the eyes of her fellow guests like a physical pressure, all too aware of the importance of every word, every gesture. "I'm delighted you could make it tonight," James says softly, as her d'oeuvres are served. "I was especially hoping we'd have a chance to converse a bit more, privately." His words are carefully chosen to suggest intention without stepping over the bounds of propriety. "As was I," Elellanena replies, her voice equally low, though opportunities seem scarce in such a bustling setting. The words dance just on the boundary of impropriety, yet remain firmly couched in societal expectations. Around them, courses are delivered with punctilious precision. Conversation ebbs and flows in orchestrated waves, punctuated by cutlery against china. Every dish, every item of decor, part of an elaborate tableau designed to impress. Through the course of the meal, James's attentions toward Elellanena become slightly more pronounced, yet never overstepping. His interests are echoed in the loaded questions posed by Mrs. Wilkinson and assiduously heard by others at the table. A deliberate performance that keeps everyone hanging on the thread of possibility. After dinner, the ladies retire to the drawing room while the gentlemen linger over port and cigars, a testament to a custom deeply entrenched in Victorian tradition. Elellanena takes the opportunity to gather her thoughts, feeling the intense scrutiny of her peers beginning to wear thin. Mrs. Harwick sits down beside her, the older woman's presence both comforting and overwhelming in its implications. "You did very well, my dear," she says, bypassing the usual pleasantries entirely. "James is most taken with you, I believe." Her words carry weight, and Elellenena's heart skips at the upcoming shift from possibility to probability. "I'm honored," Elellanena replies, battling the twin emotions of excitement and trepidation. As the gentlemen join them, the evening closes with subdued yet promising assurances. James escorts her to her family's carriage, his lingering gaze suggesting what can barely be acknowledged publicly. Elellanena clutches that hope tightly, aware of the changing dynamics. As James watches their carriage disappear into the London fog, the fleeting exchange allows her to believe for a moment that beneath the heavy veils of propriety and expectation, something genuine might hold life's real essence. The ride home feels eternal as Elellanena replays the evening's nuances over in her mind. Every gesture, every conversation analyzed with exacting detail. Her mother, attuned to every inflection of tone and suggestion, confirms her interpretations quietly. The Wilkinsons approve. Her mother states with the satisfaction of a general orchestrating a successful campaign. They like the match. Elellanena feels a rare surge of contentment melded with exhaustion. Personal dreams may be confined to the periphery, but within the boundaries of expectation, a kind of happiness might be found. The game continues, but tonight they are winning. As the Victorian era marches on, their lives intertwine with history's grander narrative. Shields of etiquette protecting vulnerabilities, the genteel deception of drawing rooms offering a stage for life's true drama to quietly unfold. For Elellanena, the uncertainty of tomorrow brings both fear and hope, puppeteered by tradition, but edging ever closer to something of her own. And with this thought, amidst the soft whispers of their carriage, sleep claims her, a temporary reprieve from tomorrow's complex choreography of words and silent understandings. Tonight, Elellanena dreams not just of duty and societal labels, but dares to imagine a world where feelings and freedom might harmonize.